What's going on? It's Nikki Blonsky, and yes, I was listening to a little "You Can't Stop It" an avalanche as it races down the hill. I heard you're turning 23 today, and you love Hairspray, and that Hairspray actually inspired you to go to the Black Lives Matter protest. Al, Sheila, McGreevy, it's Nikki Blonsky. How you doing? So Maureen told me that your high school graduation is coming up, and you're attending Catholic University this fall. Well, good luck. Good for you. I'm super proud of you. You should be very proud of all your hard work.
Hey, it's Nikki Blonsky from the movie Hairspray, and I'm now charging $100 for cameos.
So I can't be the only one who is confused, gooped, and bewildered by the sudden resurgence of Nikki Blonsky on TikTok, right? Like, I can't be the only one. Like, I feel like I've always been familiar with her deal generally speaking. I remember that every so often people would share tweets of her from back in the day where she would, like, post and mention random celebrities on Twitter and be like, hey, it's Nikki Blonsky from Hairspray. We'll get into it, but if you don't know, that's kind of like her claim to fame. And I feel like I just never bothered to engage with any other superfluous Nikki Blonsky lore beyond that because, why would I? But judging by the recent TikTok shenanigans, I have missed a lot. Cameos, a hilariously noticeable lack of media training, a literal hate crime, and ultimately everything about this story and what the internet decides to turn into a meme is very interesting to me.
No one in this house is auditioning for
Newcomer Nikki Blonsky went from scooping ice cream at her local Stone Cold Creamery parlor, occasionally belting out a song for an unsuspecting customer, to starring in the new movie musical Hairspray, winning the role of Tracy Turnblad over hundreds of hopefuls. Nikki says she relates to Tracy, an overweight teen who turns heads on the Corny Collins dance show.
One of my best friends, she's like my imaginary friend, it's kind of weird, but she's somebody who I relate to, her message and her ideas and her thoughts, we share them, we have them in common. And what I love about Tracy is that she just does her thing and she just doesn't care what people think, and that's how I am. I mean, I just say what's on my mind, and I love having fun, and I just am who I am because that, at the end of the day, that's what makes me happy, is that I live today to the fullest, and I did what made me happy today.
Nikki Blonsky is a singer and actress hailing from the proud nation of Long Island, New York.
Get up, cocksuckers. Salute the flag. Get up, everybody, get up. It's Memorial Day weekend.
According to her Wikipedia page, she auditioned for the role of Tracy Turnblad when she was in high school despite having no professional acting or singing experience, and ended up beating out 1,100 candidates for the role. She won 2 Critics' Choice Awards for her role in the film, and she was also nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. A moment in history that apparently has its own lost media rabbit hole.
I've been searching for years for that video of Nikki Blonsky throwing the chair after she got nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy back in 2008. She was sitting there with her family and she threw a coffee table, but I couldn't find it. All I could find was this People magazine article where she admitted to throwing it. There is video evidence of it out there somewhere. It was on the Today Show. She was so hyped. They filmed her reaction. They aired it on morning news. Here you get to see a quote of her at a Slim Fast party in Los Angeles saying, "I was so excited I couldn't even control myself and I just picked up the coffee table," and she threw it.
Now, in a perfect world, this is cool, right? You'd argue that if Hairspray were made today and they were looking for a Tracy Turnblad, maybe they wouldn't do a nationwide search and be willing to cast nobodies. Maybe it would just be another typical Nepo baby situation. And, it's plus-size representation. It's, somebody getting a chance in Hollywood that might not have otherwise had one. And, again, in a perfect world, that's a thing that should be celebrated. However, because Nikki Blonsky was plucked deep from the bowels of Nassau County, it's clear that she has not had the benefit of, adjusting to her time in the spotlight. She likely has had no media training, is probably, not accustomed to the amount of decorum and specific kind of behavior it takes to, hang in these spaces, right? And so as a result, she has publicly said some less than kosher and rather interesting things, specifically regarding her co-star in the film Hairspray, Zac Efron.
If you're to date anyone in the cast of Hairspray, who would it be and why? Oh, man.
Let's do it, Tracy. Come on, baby. And that was on TV.
Another Hairspray star has seen his share of trouble. Zac Efron acknowledged he had been in rehab.
What went through your mind?
Picked up the phone.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say to him?
I love you. Sorry.
How is he coping?
He's a wonderful guy and he is super strong. So nothing could take him down. Zach is one of my best friends in the whole world.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Okay, let's get serious now.
Do you think that he and Vanessa will go the distance and get married? Not yet, just eventually.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, B. Love you, girl, but it ain't happening. It's just, you want the truth. It's the truth.
I'm sorry to hear that, too.
Sorry, Hollywood. I know him real well. I love him real well. But...
So, if you were completely uncharitable about the clips you just saw, you'd probably say, wow, Nikki Blonsky is a weirdo with no boundaries. And you would probably be right. If you were charitable about the situation, you'd probably be like, wow, she's just a girl from a small town with no media training. And, you know, if I was in a situation where I played the love interest of Zac Efron, you know, like in his kind of like peak, where like every girl was obsessed with him like that, you know, I'd probably be a little bit weird about that too. And all of that benefit of the doubt goes out the window when you realize that she and her family are fucking crazy. In 2008, fresh off of the heels of Hairspray, Nikki Blonsky and her father were arrested in a Caribbean airport after getting into a physical altercation while waiting for her flight. That altercation involved an America's Next Top Model contestant named Bianca Golden, whose mother was beaten so bad by Nikki Blonsky's father that she had to be airlifted out of the airport and to a hospital. Bianca ended up talking about the incident on the Tyra Banks show after it happened.
We were coming back to the States and we were in Provo in the airport, and I walked in the middle of everything, which was, the seats are really close where you sit at. And Nikki Blonsky, who I had no idea who she was at all, no idea, and she was sitting there and her family, was a lot of them, and they were acting very posh, like, excuse me, no one next to us, please. But I had no idea who she was, and she was very rude to my aunt. My aunt had 2 babies in her arm, and she told my aunt, you can leave, like, you can go away. And I was really upset by that because, you know, my aunt and I are really close. I can tell you're upset right now. Yeah, I am upset right now because this is the first time I'm talking about it with the public. Mm-hmm. So I sat down next to her and I was talking to my brother, and she turns to me and says, you need to mind your business. You don't know what's going on. And I got really defensive, and I said, excuse me, like, who are you talking to? And she went off, and there was a lot of words exchanged, and we were arguing with each other. But my mom had came over, and she was like, guys, you need to calm down. You realize you're in the airport. And before my mom could walk away from us, her father, who I didn't know was her father at the time.
Nikki's father?
Nikki's father came, and he punched my mom.
What?
He, like, knocked her out. And would you guys understand?
Knocked her out?
Knocked her out. The seats are really close, and there were tons of bags everywhere. And the way he got over the bags and everything and hit my mom with, like, such force, she stumbled back. She stumbled back. And when she stumbled back, their whole family got up and attacked my mom, and they all started punching her, kicking her. And I'm standing there. At the time, I was still sitting down next to Nikki. This is how fast it happened. Still sitting down next to Nikki, and I look at her, and she takes her foot and just, like, kicks my mom in her vagina. And that's when my mom, like, fell out completely. And both the families were arguing, and it was like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah.
And my mom, the airport security finally came and separated everybody, and they called us, I don't know if I can say this, but, you know,
say it.
They called us niggas, and they called us, get these animals out of here. And her father and mother started saying, they got rabies, my daughter has to get shots. This girl got rabies.
So obviously after this incident, any momentum that Nikki Blonsky had post-Hairspray was gone, because she and her family are weird, violent, racist freaks. Since then, she's had a couple of roles in Hollywood here or there, but nothing, you know, particularly notable or groundbreaking or equivalent to her initial Hairspray fame. And that's where like the one-hit wonder, Kia Asylum, faded into obscurity jokes come in, with hey, it's Nikki Blonsky from Hairspray becoming like a common meme in that world. And also bizarrely sad snapshots from her social media over the years haven't helped this kind of branding situation either.
I lie awake at night thinking about Nikki Blonsky's Instagram story where she was in this West Virginia hotel. Let's revisit it together.
Oh, it is Nikki. I am finishing day 3 of Causa-Con. It's been amazing. West Virginia, you've taken such good care of me. I love you all. But they went above me. This place is just mind-blowing. That's amazing. I think everybody needs a TV that big. I'm just saying. Beautiful artwork on the walls.
So all of this lore catches us up to the last week or so, where Nikki Blonsky has been making sort of a cultural resurgence online, in the sense that people are rediscovering these moments that she's had over the years, and prompting her to create new ones via Cameo. We'll get to the cameos in a second, but I think this was prompted, from what I can tell, this is the first video that I saw that was Nikki Blonsky related in 2025 anyway. It was a video of her singing Hairspray at karaoke, I think during a drag show, and it got like 150,000 likes, and I think that caused people to sort of go back and like dig up this history, and now people are just fascinated because she's like this kooky, bizarre character. And not only that, but again, she is a character that you can interact with and pay to extract content from, with people now paying upwards of $100 to receive a funny video from her on the website Cameo, where you can pay for celebrities to like give you personalized videos or whatever. Now here's where I ruin everybody's fun and talk about how this is bad actually. I'm sorry, but like, to me, I think it's weird that when somebody becomes a meme and you're making fun of them ironically, and you're kind of making fun of them because they're untalented or because they're a bad person, then it's like okay to pay for content from them just because it's funny to you. You know what I mean? Like, Nikki Blonsky is still a violent racist who is now benefiting materially from the money that she is making on Cameo of people making fun of her. I'm like, I don't know, maybe you view that as bizarre karmic justice, but if you take that situation and you place it into a different context, like if I was like, I'm gonna pay for this super funny cameo from Shane Dawson, or, you know, David Dobrik, or some other controversial 2010s influencer who has been accused of some seedy shit, right? You'd be like, that's weird, why are you doing that? Why are you giving that person your money? Like, that's really strange. But because we have decided that Nikki Blonsky's cosmic punishment for being cringe is that she's going to get laughed at through Cameo, it's okay, but you still have to pay for those cameos. And it's because these people don't view her as a person, they just view her as like content, as means to an end to like elevate themselves and post on TikTok and be like, look at this really funny thing that I made Nikki Blonsky do. And so now we're gonna talk a little bit about how this ties into Lolcow culture online.
Hi, this is Mr. Bass and Josh Block. We're at the doctor right now at like MedMD. Mayor Flanagan is paying for it. We can't thank him enough. You want to thank him?
Thanks so much, Flanagan. I want everything about my house off the internet!
So next is the Mean Girls. Why are you so obsessed with me? I thought this sweater was literally perfect. The length. I find with my body type and the way that Torrid is, sometimes things run super short and it can be like this.
So my cameras are actually really good camera quality. These are more expensive, so yeah. One thing about me is that I have money to just like spend like that for stuff like that, you know?
So, if you're unaware, Lolcows are controversial internet figures who gain cult-like audiences that watch and critique their every move online. In some cases, they're just autistic people with unrestricted internet access like Chris Chan or Joshua Block, or sometimes they're people who believe they're living the actual influencer lifestyle like Amberlynn Reed or Ash Trevino, and they lean into the nefariousness of the relationship with their audience, sometimes by asking for money or just making straight-up rage-baity content. Communities follow and discuss their every move online as if it's a live-action reality show. And the justification for following these Lolcows is that everything that people post online publicly is fair game. In some cases, they're even making money off of it, so the least that everyone else should be able to do is publicly critique and make fun of them, right? Chris Chan is a bad person. Ash Trevino is a bad person. The guy who handles Joshua Block and makes money off of that clown show is a really bad person. You can argue, obviously, that Nikki Blonsky is a bad person. And you know, the fact that she's making a shit ton of money off of these personalized videos is very obviously negated by the fact that we're all making fun of her, right? That we're all in on the joke, right? And I'm not even coming at this from a place of empathy necessarily, because I don't feel bad for Nikki Blonsky. She's clearly kind of a freak who's getting this weird nostalgia, ironic resurgence. Like, I don't feel bad for her. And again, you can maybe charitably assume that some people who are kind of like participating in this don't know about, you know, the Bianca Golden situation. Maybe they just conveniently skipped that in their lore consumption about her. I don't know how that would work, considering that if you take 5 seconds to go down the Nikki Blonsky rabbit hole on TikTok, that is undoubtedly going to be one of the first things that you see. And maybe I'm just being a hater. Maybe I'm just here to ruin everybody's good time, right? But I just think it's interesting how so much of the internet, and I cover this on this channel all the time, is about virtue signaling and deeming people problematic and not supporting people if they're racist or homophobic or whatever, which, yeah, cool. Let's all have consistent values about that, especially now. But then the second that it's like ironic to be materially supporting this kind of person, all of that goes out the window because it's funny. If you had BLM in your bio at any point post 2020, or you posted one of those fucking black squares on Instagram, don't buy a Nikki Blonsky cameo. Don't buy a Nikki Blonsky cameo. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Enjoy the ones that have already been bought, laugh at those, point and laugh, but like, I don't know, don't give your money to a racist. And I guess to clarify here, what I'm saying is like, this is more for the people who make social justice a core tenet of their personality, but they're not actually interested in social justice or any kind of community organizing. They just want to be loud on Instagram. Again, a lot of my problem with these types of people is not necessarily that they're inconsistent, it's that they refuse to acknowledge that they're morally inconsistent, and they'll police everyone else when it comes to, you know, what they're saying wrong and who they're supporting, but then they'll turn around and pay $100 for a Nikki Blonsky cameo for somebody's bachelorette weekend, and conveniently ignore the black creators telling people not to support her. I see you. It's annoying. Stop doing it. Okay, you guys know that usually, most of the time for my outro credits, I pick like a chiptune version of a song. And so I was looking for Hairspray songs that have like the 8-bit like conversions, and there's like none of them. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I was just like, I fell down this rabbit hole of like, you know, Broadway recordings from Hairspray that might not get copyrighted if I just use the audio from them. And obviously a lot of them have Harvey Fierstein. Why was he not in the movie? I'm like, I don't know the lore behind this. I'm like annoyed about this all over again. Why was it John Travolta? I mean, John Travolta did fine, but why was Harvey Fierstein not Edna in the movie? Anyway, I'm gonna play a clip from that now. Thanks.
You can't stop